when you see it.
Yep.
All right. We're live.
Yes.
You're live.
Happy Thursday, ladies.
Happy
Happy
Thursday.
Thursday.
We have, oh, Happy New Year too. This is a new year. Last time we were on, it was 2020. So happy 2021 as well.
Right.
So we're excited. We're back with the Good Girlfriends chat for another Thursday. Always a blessing. And tonight we have a very special guest. And I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Cara Dunstan. I'm so thankful for everyone who joins us on Thursdays for our Good Girlfriends chat. And we are looking forward to another year of really great topics starting tonight. And so I'm going to pass it over to Marcy to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marcy. So very grateful and thankful to be here once again. And Happy New Year to all. And looking forward to another evening of some great conversation.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya or TT. Happy New Year. Great to join. So looking forward to this topic because it's a new year, new beginnings. 2020 was rough, y'all. But and 2021 gave us a win yesterday, but I'm still encouraged. So looking forward to
Right.
conversation.
So I'm going to jump in. I think we're waiting for Regina, but I'm going to jump in and say Happy New Year as well. I'm very excited about tonight's topic. I'm Jeanette. And tonight we're going to talk, explore a topic that I think is timely because the first of the year, folks are always declaring their resolution, setting goals, and they usually last maybe for 30 days, if that. And so one of the things we want to explore tonight is how we can have some stick-to-itness, right? Self-commitment is very important. Before you do anything else, you need to be able to commit to yourself. And so I normally make the disclaimer that we're not experts, that we're just good girlfriends kicking it with each other. And we are still good girlfriends kicking it with each other in our virtual living room. So welcome. But tonight we did bring in, this topic is so important. We have an expert. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Portia Hunt. She is a therapist located in the Philadelphia area. I said before we got on the air, she's tried and true amongst friends and family. We love her and we're so blessed to have her with us. So Dr. Hunt, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we're glad to have you. So this is a topic that's near and dear to all of us. So you tell us a little bit about you, Dr. Hunt.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I've been in Philly a long time and I've trained therapists for many, many years. And I have a passion about who we are as a people and how we take care of ourselves around mental health. And and also I love to play. So I'll probably be teasing you with some of the questions that you ask. I I absolutely adore Philadelphia. I've been here since 1975. I thought I'd be here 2 years. Needless to say, I'm still here. Uh, so, you're interested in resolutions. Yeah, and how people do that. So, can I get each of you to share with the audience uh, your recent failures with your resolutions? This is the first time, by the way, I had a resolution that stuck with me for the whole year. I don't know if COVID had anything to do with it, but tell us about yours. What have you been your joys and your failures and what have you learned?
Ooh, Dr. Hunt.
Put it on thick. Put it on thick.
Right.
Well, you know what? I'll jump in because I feel like in the midst of 2020 and everything, all the punches that it threw at all of us, but me in particular, I did very well with I say my goals because I feel like resolutions,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
that's we throw that out there. I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to do that. But um, being in the business world and always everything is around SMART goals. I really try to make sure that I pinpoint goals and make them smart. And I'm a little rigid, because if I put something out there, I push myself to really try to achieve that goal and make it measurable and give myself that timeline. So actually in 2020, I'm big on vision boards. And so that's has been my activity for probably the last 15 or 20 years. On New Year's Eve after church service, I bring in the new year. That's why I couldn't join you ladies, because that's my vision board time. And so I pulled out my one from 2017 and looked at it and looked at what I achieved, what I saw for myself for the year, what, goals I achieved, which ones are still in motion, which ones I didn't touch on, and then think about my vision for myself moving forward in 2021. So actually, I really did a good job on attaining some of my goals in 2020. And when you really start to focus on your whole wellness, and as we get older, I find for myself that I've done a lot better with really focusing on my goals and obtaining them. But life throws us punches all the time. And so sometimes life just kind of morphs in a way that we don't anticipate. And then some of the topics like fear, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And so I have this vision for X, Y, and Z, and then fear sets in, or something happens outside of me, but that impacts who I am, or what I'm doing. And so that kind of hinders you from achieving some of your goals. But I think when you're in the 50 plus club, being truly transparent and being truly honest with yourself about what's realistic and what you really need, and you're focusing on your self-care, I find that I put a lot more effort in my goals in this season of my life.
Yeah.
So you're in your 50s, huh? So every 10 years or so, you do a whole evaluation of who you are and where you are.
Yeah, well, I feel like I've been doing that. I do that like every 10 minutes these days. I can't wait for 10 years. I'm always wait a minute, Tanya. I'm always reevaluating myself. So no, I honestly, Dr. Hunt, I can't wait. I can't wait 10 years. And I think this year has really weighed heavy on me about tomorrow's not promised, and I can't take it for granted. And so, one of my biggest goals, and it actually has been a 10-year goal, was to move, to relocate. And I have to say and announce that I'm taking the plunge, and in about less than 30 days, I will be moving from my hometown of Baltimore, Maryland to South Carolina.
Wow.
So that was a vision that I had, which was pretty much a 10-year vision that I really focused and was huge on my vision board in really in 2018. It carried over to 2019, and then it was on my vision board in 2020. And now I can check that off and say I finally achieved that goal. So
that's awesome.
You're doing it.
So I'm doing it.
Tanya.
Yeah.
I would chime in here and say one of the things that I like that Tanya talked about is I think as you start getting older, you start looking at things more holistically in terms of your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, your financial health. So for me, as I begin to look at goals, it's not about, so it is about, yes, I do want to lose those 5 or 10 pounds, but it's no longer about, all right, I'm gonna lose those like 10 pounds and I'm doing it all at this period of time, because I know I need to do this over a period of time because stuff gets in the way, or I need to really, I need to chunk it out and say, okay, if I do 5, that's a win. If I do 4 more, that's a win. And then not beat yourself back up if you only do 1 or 2. So I also call them goals, and I make lists. So I'm a big to-do list person. And that probably also comes from having spent 20 plus years in corporate. So I've got the list. Sometimes the lists are in categories. I've got my list, and I've got the work list, and I've got the young adult son list. And so what gets done on what list and what category is it in? And so for me, just checking something off or crossing something off is a good thing. However, there are those other things that, oh, Mark, that was on the list last year. Now, was it on the list last year and nothing was accomplished with it? So I have some documents that I personally need to work on. So that's carried over again to this year. And I'm a little further than I was, but not as far as I want to be because I haven't completed it.
Okay.
So for me, that's not necessarily a good thing, but that means that I need to determine what's in the way of that, of me getting that accomplished and really completing that paperwork that I know that I need to do. Or as my mother said, you know, you're doing all the other things for everybody else. You got to make sure you're doing some stuff for yourself.
Okay. Got it. Hello, Regina.
Hi, Regina.
Hi, Regina.
Hi everyone. Hi, Facebook. Hello. We're so happy to have you this evening.
I'm
Look,
gonna I'm gonna jump in and talk about how I have literally kept a diary since I was a child, and I journal. And I recently I have this one journal that I've written my goals every year. I usually take it to church with me, and at right before midnight, during that hour, I'm writing out my goals for the next year. And I happened to look at it this year, and this particular journal started in 2007, and I noticed that from 2007 till now, I have really refined, as Tanya mentioned, my goals to be SMART goals now. And since I've done that, I seem to have been much more successful at achieving them during the year versus the same goals that I kept repeating over and over every year. And they were kind of generic almost. And actually, I found a journal that was even earlier than that from 1997, which is really scary. That I was still writing those same goals back then, but now I've been writing more specific goals. And I was really impressed this year when I looked back and saw that I had achieved almost every goal that I wrote down in my journal. And on top of that, I started when I was 50. I think it was the year I was 50. Regina, you started it when we made those vision boards that year. What year was that? I think that was like 3 years ago.
yeah, I think that was
First vision board. And I remember I left it in my trunk, and they were teasing me because I had my vision board in my trunk for like a year. But after that, the next year, I went on and made one and was serious about keeping it in front of me. And I've been very similar to Tanya. I didn't do it on New Year's Eve, but on a couple days after New Year's, and I tried to do it on New Year's Day, but a couple days after New Year's, I did my vision board this year. And when I look at them, I see once again that I accomplished a lot that was on the board. So I'm very serious about doing those things. And I think for me, it was helpful because in years past, I think my 50th year, I just decided I didn't want to be disciplined at all. But I've come back to trying to be more disciplined in things that I do. And I've shared with this group and with Facebook that for the first time last October, I actually stuck to a commitment that I made to myself because I hadn't been doing that for a few years. And so, I think it was all a part of this whole transformation and how I've been tracking my goals, writing them out, making them more specific, and the vision board helped me to get to that point again in life. So I can't say that I'm always like that. And I do need some pointers on how I can consistently do that. But I was very happy that I could at least make a commitment to myself and stick to it. I figured it was at least a start of something that I am going to try to replicate in 2021 at this point.
So I will say that I think I was more disciplined in terms of like sticking to something when I was younger. Like, as I've gotten a little bit older, and I never really had a process, if you will, unlike most of my girlfriends here. I've never had really a process. But I listen, my mother says you finish what you start. So that was my process, right? But as I got older and life happens and the demands become greater, it wasn't so easy for me to complete tasks. And so I think maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I started a process, if you will, a goal setting process with my daughter and my nieces and nephews. So we would, gather at my mother's house in North Carolina. Right before we would leave there from the Christmas holiday, we would all, review the goals we set the prior year and reestablish. But I will say that I have been struggling these past few years with sticking to goals that I put in place. And, one big one in particular for me, I have some degree work that I need to finish. And, have half, I don't want to say any curse words, half behind committed to getting it done. Right. It is what it is. And so you ask, so to me, because I haven't finished that and completed that, that is a failure. That would be the first time that I've not completed something that I've started. And the learning, like as I'm getting older now, I am quickly approaching 50, right? We'll be 50 this year. And so, the part now I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't even like it. You know what I mean? And I don't know that if I don't like being a student or if I just don't like this because it's taken me this long to really commit myself to completing the work.
Oh, wow. Okay. Your commitment has changed.
My commitment has changed, but I feel convicted because I feel like I started this thing and I need to finish it. There's been a large investment of time and money, so it needs to be complete. That's how I feel.
Wow. Investment of time and money. So I'm dying to be nosy and say, my Lord, what did you do? What was the goal?
The goal was to complete this doctoral degree.
Okay. Okay.
That I have been working on for a long time.
And what's it in?
It's in education.
Okay.
And administration, right? And that's the work that I do, right? The work that I love too.
She's so close to the finish line though. She's really close to the finish line. We just got to push her over. That's when her sisters have to come in and pull her along.
Right.
If you see on our faces, Dr. Hunt, we're going. Yeah.
Dr. Harris, come on.
So we're here in this journey with each other for sure.
Yes. So that's a huge commitment. It's spilling over to other, I don't want to say that is, but there are other areas, where I see where I'm not disciplined too.
And there's some fear built into that.
Perhaps there is. Because I think, when I started this journey initially, I had gotten to the finish line and didn't quite make it, right? So knowing that I have to finish what I start, I, re-engaged in this process again and have hit some stumbling blocks again, right? Now this time much older and I'm tired.
Okay.
And I'm tired too, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so that's the real ugly truth as it relates to my, goal and me feeling like, okay, I failed. I didn't get over the finish line the first time. So I need to run the race again. And now I'm like, oh, but I'm running this race. I'm tired now. I'm not running it as fast or as quick or I'm not as agile as I was when I was much younger.
Have your life demands changed also?
Well, there have been, over the years, there were changes, sure. And the job is what pays the bills is very demanding too. And I am committed to that.
Okay.
Because it's my job, but also it's probably what I love to do too.
Okay.
And what I'm good at.
Okay. So
effortlessly good at.
Yeah. Okay. So TT, I heard vision boards from Marcia and TT. So somehow I had a thought that your work life has really given you a structure for changing or being in control of what you're doing with your life. Hello, Benita.
Hi.
Hi, Bernita.
Hi.
Benita.
Sorry I'm late. Thank you. Thank you for joining me in.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's something about your work world that helped you to make a transition in terms of really starting to get that together. Is that right?
Sure. In terms of like staying committed to the job and I'm a principal of an elementary school. So I have to be on top of stuff.
And you have to be on top of multitasking and being able to change at the last minute.
Correct.
And so I'm also hearing that the stress levels are probably very interesting. And when that goes up, you probably find yourself falling off the board and deciding that those bag of potato chips is all I need to get me through. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So, and Kara, you said that you looked at your journal. So you've been journaling a long time.
Very long.
And
Almost
isn't
my
it
entire
wild when you go back and you see you've been writing the same thing down year after year?
Right. Yeah.
I used to look at mine and I would say, I'm depressed. A year later, I'm depressed. A year later, I'm depressed. And I start saying, when the hell is this going to change? I mean, good Lord, am I just a tragedy queen all my life? When's it going to change? So starting when you get your resolutions up, there's several reasons as to why they fail usually after 30 days. One of the reasons that they fail is that you weren't really committed to it and you've been telling yourself you should do this because.
Mhm.
And so when you find yourself relating to that, you're kind of not quite there yet. Your heart might be there, but your behavior hasn't arrived.
Mhm.
So usually when we start our resolutions, we either pick stuff out that's too difficult to achieve, so we fall off the wagon after the interest kind of wears down, or we find ourselves overwhelmed by life circumstances. Things start to come in. And when you think you've had time to do stuff for yourself, you realize that you're not the top priority. Especially if you're raising children or if you have senior parents who are aging and need a different level of care. You start finding that life kind of jumps in. When I mentioned the 10-year rule kind of thing, I wasn't saying it happens every 10 years. Every 10 years, your body makes a major change. And so what you thought you knew about yourself changes radically. One of the things that kind of took me by surprise is that I knew that I was still in my 20s. And there I was working out. And my body had to remind me that, I used to do those cross leg things and get ready to just stand up. My body had to remind me, so you think you can do that? Your 20-year-old mind ain't got nothing to do with your 70-something-year-old body.
Right.
You better deal, girl. So I found that I was hurting myself because I'm still living in the past
Mhm.
with the goal of accomplishments. The other thing I kind of realized that my goals sometimes weren't realistic. Regina, I see you shaking your head, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you get in the middle of it and it's like, oh, giving up that ice cream is just a little bit too much because you realize it makes you feel so good and comforts you so much. So you find yourself kind of waning as things start to happen and not being able to stay on target. This year was the first year that I achieved my goal without working on it. And what got me there was kind of a pseudo near-death experience. So, because I kind of knew, that I was cool. My heart and everything was all right. And I had an incident that increased the level of stress. And when that happened, my heart started to flutter. I found myself in the hospital for observation. And I'm like, what the hell? My tinker is leaving? What? So as I moved through that experience, I then had an experience where it hit me that I needed to slow down. And people had been telling me that. So coming to grips with the fact that I am addicted, deeply addicted to rescuing people.
Mm. Ooh.
Ooh, and your profession is that's what you do.
my profession happened to pick me, but let me tell you, that wasn't. I picked that because I did that before I got into my profession, you know, because I wanted to heal the problems in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I coped with that as a child coming up was to rescue everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So great, I picked this profession because it allowed me to get off on my Jones, so to speak.
Got it. Got it.
And listening to people telling me to take care of myself, I knew, I heard it, but I couldn't do it because invariably somebody would always come by, and I kind of thought they were picking me, but then I realized I was picking them.
So
And I was really into picking people who needed to be rescued or whom I thought needed to be rescued. Now, I don't know, Regina, I saw you go, ooh, what was happening when I said that?
I wanted to say, consciously or subconsciously, were you picking those people? I just, that's a good, I mean, the only reason I say that, yeah, consciously or subconsciously?
Unconscious. It wasn't even
I mean,
so.
unconsciously, right.
she said it wasn't
It
even.
wasn't even so. If you grow up in a family where there is a lot of trauma and avoidance and denial, you learn how to take care of other people.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that you really learn how to do. And they might not even, especially those who don't know that you're taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're always in this place of feeling like not recognized for all that you've done for someone else. They can't recognize what you did. So you keep doing more and more and more, hoping that they will recognize it. And then when you finally realize they can't give you what they don't have, and then at some point you go through a phase of saying, how come I keep asking for water and all they giving me is bread? Maybe they don't have the water. Benita, I saw that. Yeah. So part of my own journey, and I do want to get back to you guys, was, I used to really think I've got to work out regularly. I have to do that. I knew it cognitively. I knew it emotionally. Wasn't quite there behaviorally, but I knew that I had a history of being in dance and drama and all that stuff. So the way that I had to trick myself into moving on the goal was to say to myself, you're going to go to the gym and you don't want to work out because you've been working on this problem in your head for a long time, but you haven't got up off your tuchuses to go deal with it. So I finally said, because you're going to die when you do this. So I finally said to myself, go to the gym, sit in the gym, observe the classes, and feel sorry for the people who are going to kill themselves and working out too hard. So eventually I said, I knew that when I heard the music, I couldn't sit on my ass any longer. So I got up and started doing it. I had to trick myself into doing the behavior so then I could begin to deal with the benefits of that and not beating up on myself because, I knew that 10 pounds was going to come off. It didn't, but I sure worked at it. And then after a while, this last year, during the COVID year of all years, I maintained the same weight. The hospital experience got my attention. The realization that my mind and body were not in sync got my attention. And the realization that I was involved in deceiving myself to thinking I was taking care of myself.
So basically, I mean, I heard you say I'm a note taker. So I heard you say that one of the reasons that we don't stick to our goals is because we don't make ourselves a priority. So the story you just told is basically showing us that a lot of times we just, even though we think we are, or even though we think we're doing what we should be doing, that if we just make ourselves a priority, that'll help us reach our goals. Is that what
You
I'm?
got to deal with the self-deception first.
Right. Because what I also heard is that you didn't potentially reach that, maybe the 10-pound lost goal. There were some other benefits that you gained as a result of other circumstances that came about.
The comfort of ice cream, the comfort of fried chicken,
Right. But
the
if,
foods
yeah,
that bring us comfort. It's like, oh, but yeah. So it's, self-deception is very interesting. You know how long it takes to change a habit. I guess you guys know that, right?
How long, Dr. Hunt?
At least 2 weeks to get the beginning part of it going. 2 weeks.
At least.
At least to start. So the areas that I have not succeeded in this year, I took a 3-month course called Strong Posture. Now, the way that I got to this course was noticing that I was tripping a lot, noticing that my balance was going to hell in a handbasket.
Mhm.
And then the chiropractor says to me after they closed down for COVID, I want you to get in this posture class. And I said, all right. We started to work. And the guy said, posture and balance are two different things. Like, really? Yeah, you're trying to deal with your balance right now. I want you to deal with your posture. You can't do balance until you do posture first. And I'm thinking anybody can do posture stuff. What the hell? So he had me to do a stork. And the stork is where you stand on one leg and you lift the other leg up and it's parallel to the floor.
I don't think I could do that.
It was a surprise because I'm still in my 20s in my head. That's easy to do, I thought. Oh, anybody can do that. So I lifted my leg up and he says, okay, higher.
Mhm.
You want me to stand on one leg with it higher? Yeah, just lift it up higher. Okay. A little bit higher. And I'm standing there and all of a sudden the perspiration started to roll down my face. I said, damn, this is hard. He said, that's posture. You can hold onto the wall if you want to. I just want you to do this 3 or 4 times a day, and you're going to breathe to 5 breaths. And then that's all I want you to do. Little bitty steps like that. And I resisted like hell. So now I'm able to stand without feeling like I'm going to fall over. But I've been in the course now for 9 months. It's supposed to be a 3-month course.
Wow.
I'm thinking, are you being resistant? Yeah, I am. I'm resisting myself.
So, Dr. Hunt, so that kind of brings me back to what Jeanette shared. And I think pretty much a lot of us may have had, and I think Cara talked about it too, and I know that I have, that we've had these goals for years. Like I said, sometimes I do my vision board and I notice there's something that just keeps carrying over year after year after year. And I think, Jeanette, you said you started that journey on your PhD like years ago. And so I feel like sometimes we might have a vision for ourselves, say in our 20s or our 30s, that we don't achieve. And then now we looking at 30 years later, 20 years later, 10 years later. And that thing is still something that we feel we want to achieve, but we're stuck and we're not doing it. We're not reaching that goal. So what do you do to, because I know for me, I'm a perfectionist and I'm very controlling. So, and I'm a tasker, a task list. I'm a journaler, I have journals from when I was 14 years old. But I see something that I have that I'm not checking that box, that stresses me out. too many irons in the fire stresses me out. So I want to use that because I put that into the atmosphere. I put that, out for me to do. But how do you conquer, or what do you do when you have those goals or visions for your life that are 20 years old? You're constantly carrying them over, and it's something you want to achieve, but you just can't. Jeanette was like, but I just can't wrap my mind around, I just can't. I'm there. I'm at the finish line. I can see it, but I just don't have that oomph to complete that goal.
You get stuck.
You get stuck in it. So you've got to unpack what's causing you to resist.
That's what I wanted to talk. That's
It's
what I wanted to talk
something about Jeanette's finishing this that terrifies her.
And could it be that because of our life experiences or where we are, that vision that we had 20 years ago for ourselves has really kind of changed, and it's not, and is it the worst thing if we don't complete something that we put on in our lives for ourselves? If we come to the realization that, hey, 20 years ago, getting my doctorate was, and I'm just using your example, Jeanette.
Oh, yeah.
Getting my doctorate, that's what I had, that energy, that's what I forecast for myself. But here I'm turning 50 in my life. I've had so many other different experiences and things that now, that's a great achievement. And, Jeanette's going to be fabulous, whether she becomes Dr. Harris or not. So what are the steps, or what do we do to get unstuck, to actually realize, is this really what I want to do? Do I really, even though I'm this close, it doesn't change how fabulous Jeanette is if she says, you know what, I need to let that vision go. Because sometimes when we're holding on to that stuff, it's impacting us, and it causes us some angst and some stress, because that's a goal I'm not achieving, and I should be, because I'm fabulous Jeanette, and I should be finishing, and I'm right there. But yet I'm not. There's something within that's hindering me from completing that.
Well, I'm going to take it into a little bit of a personal area. Jeanette, do you know what was terrifying you about finishing?
I have no idea. I can't say. I can say what's giving me the trouble in this program, but what I feel is giving me trouble, which is why I probably didn't complete it the first time. But and maybe that is terrifying. I think maybe the fact that I didn't complete it the first time, and I went back, and now I'm hitting the same kind of stumbling blocks, similar, that is making me nervous that I won't complete it this time.
The dissertation process brings up every neurotic fiber in your body. And you don't realize.
This is water, everybody.
That's true, though.
And there's something primary in that fear. It feels like abandonment. There's something primary, and it has to do with self-esteem. And I have chaired about 85 dissertations. Wow. This is so hilarious. One woman I was working with, we got together, we laid out the plan. And she went off to do her work. And 3 years later, she comes back and says, "You terrified the crap out of me. I couldn't do it." I had no idea she was going through purgatory, because my experience would be, I'll help you. But facing her fear was more devastating to her than her being able to receive help. Every neurotic bone that you have in your life comes right up to the surface. So the complexity of the process, Jeanette, that you're dealing with is very different than the complexity of something like I'm going to lose 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's easy to kind of measure that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get something in your core that threatens you, if you're not freed up to look deeper into what's going on,
That was, yep.
then you're going to be stuck for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you get freed up? Like, how do you free yourself to, do you know what I mean? Like, what is that?
Acknowledging to yourself your worst fear and then being able to play with it. So if your worst fear is I'm stupid and everybody's going to discover it with this dissertation, give yourself permission to be stupid.
Mm.
So, wow. I mean, this just kind of piggyback on so many conversations we've had, ladies. Like, I just feel like, I mean, I keep going back to that fear conversation we had because I still am talking to so many other women who kind of viewed it, and that's just a topic that I feel like is in our core sometimes, that fuels so much of or hinders so much of what we're trying to achieve.
I agree.
From the small things to the big things. And
Right.
so
Right.
it's like when we get stuck and we have those things we're trying to do, until we really sit in it and peel the layers and get the undergirth, what's really up under there that's stopping us from doing what it is we said or what we feel we need to do for ourselves, then we never are able to get over that hurdle. And the acknowledgement that, I mean, you might have to sit in, that Jeanette for a minute and be like, oh wow, and look in the mirror and be like, okay, so this is it. Now what do I do with this it, and how do I overcome it? Or do I say, well, that's it, and let it go and move on to something else? I mean,
Maybe move, because when I discovered that I was a professional enabler,
mm-hmm.
I had to put myself in an environment where no one needed to be rescued.
Mm.
Yep. Mm.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had to,
Yeah. I was saying, somebody who suffers from codependency, I certainly understand that. Because I've lived my life for every relationship I've chose, the men I've chose, what I did with my child, how I operate in my family. I'm the go-to person, and you need what? And then I go into human services.
yes.
Hello? Like, hey, Tanya,
Yes.
save the world and
Yes.
not save yourself. That's what I did for years.
Uh-huh.
That 40, that 10 year of turning 40, when I was like, wait a minute, how am I saving everybody else? And I'm sinking and drowning. I'm in the dark, I'm in darkness, and but I'm showing everybody else the light.
Yes.
So that's, yeah.
Well, it took me a long time to figure out that the men that I would pick who were broken, that I needed them to be broken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because then I could complete the unfinished business between my mother and father. And I didn't even realize I was even stuck in their relationship.
Come on now.
Well,
You gotta say that. You
yeah,
gotta say
absolutely.
that.
Picking the broken people because I'm broken, because I'm the product of, daddy wasn't in my life, so now I got to find all the broken men because I ain't know what daddy and what a man was really supposed to be. So so you broken, so I'm broken, and I'm gonna pick broken because that's all I know is broken.
So you will select men or people who are either like the broken person that you saw growing up, or you will pick people who are the rescuer. And if someone's attracted to you that's healthy, you know how to run.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's scary because I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't know. So that's the being in a stuck place. That's even with our goals and our resolutions. When we get to ones that get us stuck, you don't know what to do with it.
Right.
I don't know what to do with
But
it.
until you are fine with yourself and start to unpack it.
Yes.
So Jeanette, I mentioned the dissertation experience.
Yes.
I was able to get through mine real fast because I knew if I lingered in it, I would be in my 80s before I finished. I finished my degree when I was 28, but I knew that if I didn't finish it in 6 months, I would never do it. The fear that I had of math, recognizing that I had a learning disability that was serious, recognizing that people always thought I was brilliant and everything, but that I felt like an imposter inside.
Mm.
Real.
That
Mm.
Syndrome is real.
Mm.
and really coming to grips with that, I felt like I wasn't good enough, but I could never tell anybody that because I was getting all this reinforcement about how great thou art. And I'm thinking, on the inside, I don't really feel like that because the moment you ask me to interpret the data, y'all gonna discover how really ignorant I am. You know? And so facing my fear, I have another buddy that took 30 years to finish her doctorate. She kept making all these false starts. And I kept thinking, why is she doing that? What in the hell's going on? Very bright woman. Underneath it all was a deep sense of inadequacy and insecurity that she did not want to face. So she would get other people to reinforce feeling good about herself so she didn't have to look deeper into that. So there's something that's blocking your being able to move through that barrier. And until you began to make peace with yourself that it's okay to be a failure.
Mm.
It's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Only until you accept that can you give yourself the permission then to move from it.
Mm. Mm.
When the manager Jim told me to do 10 pull-ups and I did one, I was ready to, I looked at him like, Negro Damas, you have lost your mind. You think I'm gonna do 10 of those? I don't think so. I'm like, I might be able to do 2, but you're gonna be lucky if you get me to do 1. Okay. So so I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, you think I just because I grew it does not mean I have to pick it up. I mean, I do get it.
Wow.
That's fair.
Just because I grew it doesn't mean I have to pick it up. Let somebody else pick it up. But until I was able to move through that fear, and I almost convinced myself I was going to die. And I said, okay, so assume you did. Now what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and so it's not easy to be, I think, to really start being really honest with yourself about once you peel that onion back and you see what's under it. You're peeling it back and you start saying, oh, that's what's stopping me. So I just might as well give myself permission to fail and then see what's on the other side of that.
So that's all
on the
that,
other
that
side?
internal work. But and then there's that external. Well, what are my girlfriends gonna think if I don't finish?
They gonna still love you anyway. Like you were telling Jeanette, we don't give a who they
Yeah.
choose.
So
But sometimes
that,
in that space, we don't speak that to ourselves all the time. We know
yeah.
I know that my good girlfriends, the ones that genuinely love me, whatever, they love me whether I'm, achieving what I said I'm gonna do or not.
Yeah.
And when I'm not, they're like Carr, they're gonna check me and say, well, wait a minute, come on, we're gonna help you, we're gonna encourage you, we're gonna push you. But sometimes when you get in that space, there is that little voice that all of those things conjure up. You're beating yourself up, and then you're worrying about what others are gonna say or think or do because I didn't do X, Y, and Z.
I
So
didn't go
I was
through
just
your
saying we put the we take that external and put it on ourselves, knowing that unconditionally that we're loved anyway.
right. Except maybe by you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I would say for me, right, I think my struggles are always, from a young person, like internal. I have never really cared much about the outside world.
Mhm.
Kind of dance to the beat of my own drum. But it's, but internal, you have your own struggles internally.
Mhm.
So that would
And
be
we have real rules about privacy. Ain't nobody gonna get in my business. We have real rules about that. Cultural rules.
Especially cultural, we have
Yeah, that's true.
Very
big
much.
Mhm.
cultural rules about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we have, yeah, because, and that's a lot of times why we won't seek therapy.
And doesn't some of
Because,
it end
because
up being
we feel like therapy means something is wrong with us.
Yep.
Right.
right?
And
But then we often end up suffering in silence as a
and we
result.
suffer in silence, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
So people get surprised when I tell them there is something wrong with you. You did something right. I mean, you just had to really give yourself a gift. Wow. you know,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess that's wrong with you. I think it's a joy that you recognize that something is going on.
you
It's a-
know, it's interesting because I think for me that I have found um, truly what is important to me, not what my mother thinks I should do, not because Jeanette, I'm like you, I kind of walk to my own beat, but I still have that programming. Right? It's programming. What my mother thinks I should be, what somebody thinks I should do, what people, I just went through a process of with my company, and I was sharing something with someone, and they said I didn't respond because it really has to be you. It's not what I think you should be doing; it's what you think you should be doing.
yeah.
It's really, really important to know, is this really what I want? Um, because I began a doctoral process. And I mean, because people said I should do this, right? And the first semester, I was like, I'm not doing this because the dissertation process, because it's all about writing for me. I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face, and I can
Mhm.
I can run it down left and right, but write it down.
Right.
Oh my gosh, no.
Because
And
you
I'm
never thought of yourself as being bilingual, English being a second language. You never thought about that, right?
right.
Right.
So
Writing is serious.
yeah,
I'm very serious.
but I'm just using that as an example, and I'm not going to keep going on Jeanette and the doc. But I've really, it took me a process to really, and peeling back the onions, opening and unpacking the drawers in my life that I put the things in, and I close it, and I don't want to see it no more.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
my therapist helped me to unpack the drawers.
Yes. Yes.
And that unpacking the drawers has had me to write goals that are very different that I've ever had before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do goals every year. I journal. But this year, and it's interesting because I had to readjust one of them, because one of mine is lose weight, and I say that every year, right? But what I really got specific with is, because I believe in speaking what you want. Because I said 50 pounds lighter, but then I went further. I said 50 pounds lighter by eating healthy and exercising. That's very different. I could be
Yes.
in the hospital and be 50 pounds lighter.
Absolutely.
That's not how I want to be 50 pounds
Right.
lighter.
Right. Right.
You got specific. The specific way that I want to be 50 pounds lighter is through that. And then I go further and I take it, and I know everybody's heard the saying, eat the elephant one bite at a time. So 50 pounds is a lot. But in the first quarter, I need to lose 12
Yeah.
to get to the 50.
Right.
And in that first quarter, that's 3 months. So every month, I need to lose 4.
Yes. So you broke it down into small chunks, small pieces.
That's
Small
that's
chunks.
right.
Where it
Right.
didn't
That's
seem
right.
overwhelming.
Like you
Yeah.
said, when you were talking about the stork,
Mm-hmm.
and when you were talking about the bars,
Mm-hmm.
because if you take the, you guys stand there for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's a lot. But if
Yes.
okay, lift your leg a little higher and lift your leg a little higher. So
And I couldn't hit the man through the TV, through my computer.
Right.
I'm like, you want me to lift what? And I'm thinking to myself, I can lift my leg up over my head. I just want you to make it parallel to the floor. I'm like, MF. But anyway, yes. So you broke it down into small pieces.
small pieces. I have to because
But I think,
50
Regina,
pounds.
what we're saying, in terms of you breaking down small pieces, I mean, you've even added some other things that go with that. I think, Tanya, we were saying that before in terms of one, chunking it out, but okay, not only do I need to lose weight, but what's the process that I'm going to do that?
Oh,
It's going
yeah,
to be in a healthy way. And because I think early, right before you came on, we talked about, as we've gotten older, looking at it more holistically, both
Yeah.
mentally and physically, and all of the things that kind of work together. So, okay, I'm going to lose it. Now I'm going to do it in a healthy way. And what does the healthy way mean? I'm going to add more fruits and vegetables. And what kind of going to add? And like for me, like I know I'm clear that I have a sugar addiction. It is very clear. I am very clear that I have a sugar addiction. And my sugar addiction is also very specific. I'm not you candy. No. My stuff is really real. And then I have times where I can just,
What's your stuff, girl?
so so it's
you
things like strawberry Twizzlers. I'm a big strawberry Twizzler girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if we go on the cake cookie side, or Jeanette knows it's a pound cake. I think pound cake goes with everything.
Everything.
Anointed by the Lord. Okay, go ahead.
It goes with water, or it goes with champagne. or you can toast it in the morning and have it with tea.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Or you can get a sliver midday.
I
Okay,
love it.
right. Or I can just shut it down for a minute, for like weeks and nothing. But then when I come back, I'm back.
Yeah, you come back full force. It's like you never left it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hi,
Right.
Kimberly. Yeah, I got it.
Right.
So I'm the Spice Drop Queen.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
So Kim is an invited, I should say, guest. She we're gonna press pause for a second in our conversation. So part of our show, we highlight a Black female-owned business, and Kimberly is very, very creative. So over the Christmas holidays, I sent Cara a little something. I know she has it. She posted it on Facebook, and it went wild. People went wild.
I saw that.
So it is. It's beautiful.
Oh, yes.
And so I follow Kim on Instagram. I'm one of those people. I just was scrolling through, saw one of her mugs, loved it. And so after Cara received hers and she posted it on Facebook, it got overwhelming responses, Kimberly. And so I wanted you to come on the show and just tell us a little bit about your business, give the people some information. Everybody wanted your information. And I was like, nope, you have to wait until Thursday.
Okay, well, here I am. So let me tell you a little bit about me. So I live in Houston, Texas. And the reason I started doing this is because my kids are now grown and I didn't have any more write-offs for tax purposes. So I needed to do something. So I just searched for something that I thought I would like. I've always been a little bit creative, a little bit artsy. So I started first by creating wine glasses, and I'll show you one of the wine glasses. And it's just with the, it's a vinyl with the pearls on it. This one has crystals. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I just kind of embellish it, sometimes on the glass, sometimes just on the base, sometimes with your name. It depends what's requested. During Nurses Week, I did a very big order for a lot of the hospitals in Houston, about 60 wine glasses. And these were just vinyl, and they'll be embellished around the base. This one says Scrub Life, this one says Nurse. These are just two that were a little messed up, so they didn't go out. Then I started doing mugs, and the mugs took off. So I do more mugs now than I do wine glasses.
You got your groove.
I try to do it personalized so people can ask, you know, they can say they want this color or that color. So these are some of the mugs, if I can show you this.
Nice.
And some I create ahead of time and I'll post them, and someone may say, oh, I want this one. And then I can add a name to the mug, any mug. Some of them are not complete because I embellish the handle on there sometimes too. So you see those.
Oh,
I do a lot of sorority girls. I get a lot of requests for those. I have different options, a lot of different options, a lot of different colors. The mugs are different shapes, different sizes.
So pretty.
You see sometimes a little embellishment there. This is one.
I think what I love and appreciate about them, they look like us. They're Black women, right?
yes.
Yeah.
I love that about, and I think that's why everybody went so wild when, you know, they saw the pink and green afro.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hold your cup up again,
Pretty
Cara.
much all
Don't
the
worry, she working on the Delta girls too, Marcy.
I'm so sure.
Oh yeah, I'm
When I
sorry.
saw that, I was going, oh.
I'm sorry.
There we go. See there?
Oh.
It looks nice.
Oh.
Really, I like it.
All the ones I'm showing you are available.
Hold that one up again for all the deltas.
Okay.
What's your Instagram name?
This
I'm
one.
gonna type it. I'm gonna type it here. For
Isn't that pretty, guys?
Ooh.
It looks gorgeous, Kim.
And just let me show you that it's not done on this one yet, but it will be. I do the little bracelet on
Yes.
there also, and then I also can add a name on there. You can
Right.
probably see the name on Cara's.
Yes,
Yes, I saw that.
name on it.
She showed it off on Facebook. She did.
And they
It caused
are
lots of a ruckus amongst my line sisters. I'm just going to say.
good. I don't mind ruckus. I don't mind ruckus
Yes.
at all. Good ruckus, that is.
It's good ruckus.
Yes, good ruckus.
Good trouble.
I'm gonna type my Instagram here for y'all.
We
And
have to put it on our Facebook Live too. Yeah, so people will have it.
People are asking, how do we order?
Ooh.
I said, Kimberly, you have to come on. Once Cara put your mug on Facebook, it went crazy.
good. I love that. And I do it more often now because I was laid off in September from my job after 15 years at an oil company.
Sorry
You know,
to hear that.
oil's up and down here in Houston, so I'm taking
Yes.
all orders. So whatever y'all want. And I do, let me just show you real quick. I do customized tumblers too. I could put pictures on these, like your picture, your own picture.
Oh, nice.
This is created a different way. I wish I'd have kept the one I sent my sister yesterday. I put pictures of me and my sister, my mom, my dad, my sister, my dad, and you know, and I printed right on here and I sent it to her yesterday, but I didn't take pictures because I didn't want her to see it before she got it. So
Oh, that's okay. Makes sense.
And I will say for everyone too, she will, Kimberly is very good about working with you. Like we were working on the Delta Girl mug. And, you know, I'm like, no, I don't like that. Do this, try this. And so she's very good about working with you. Even for Cara's mug, I was like, no, I want this. Can you put that on it? She's awesome that way. So thank you for that.
no problem. I do my best to please.
Love my mug. I don't want to use it. I'm scared to mess it up.
No, use it. They wash well.
Just
I have
you
a couple
can-
mugs. They wash well.
I was like, I don't want to use this. This is
You just hand wash it. Hand wash it. Don't submerge it. Don't put it in the dishwasher. Don't put it in the microwave.
I love it. It is
And
so
it will last. I have some that I've used for probably 2 or 3 years now.
it's so cute. Oh my goodness.
And they start
follow
with
you
the
on
vinyl.
Instagram.
So, but being that everything is handmade and the beads are placed on individually, everything is hand placed. I'm not gonna say that stone may never fall off or anything like that. That could happen. If you have the stone, you can easily put it back on though with some type of glue. But I use a very good glue, and I've never had that problem.
Kimberly, why don't you put your contact information in on the chat room?
It's in
Okay.
the chat.
I
Put it in
I
there.
put my
I see.
Instagram,
Okay.
but I mean,
Do
feel
you
free
have
to
other, like for folks that don't have Instagram, is there any other way they can reach
call
you?
me.
What's
Put
your
your number. Put your number there
Phone number or email.
in the chat so everyone has your phone number.
And I'm in Houston, Texas.
There she go. Okay, yeah, perfect.
So yeah, feel free to reach out. Pass the number around if somebody wants one. They're not on. I know a lot of people aren't on social media. So here's her number. Just tell them to text me. Hey, I got your number. You know, I want a cup, a mug, a glass, a tumbler.
How much do they cost around? Just give us a
The-
price range.
Everything's 25. This is 25. The wine glasses are 25. The tumblers are 25, and everything is $5 shipping.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is Proctor with an X, not a C.
Yes, with an X.
Okay.
And it does take me some time to make them because I could be making other stuff. Sometimes I'll have an order of a few.
Cool.
So I don't want you to think you can call like and say, you know, oh, can you do this by Saturday? Sometimes I can, sometimes I cannot. And sometimes I do go out of town a lot because I don't work. So I do get around, move around.
Well, you
a little
work
bit.
for yourself.
Yes, I'm working for
Yes.
myself right now. I'm not clocking in.
It's about to blow up. It's about to blow up. You're gonna be real busy.
That's right.
I'll take that. I will not complain. I also do men's glasses. If you go on the Instagram, for those of you who have Instagram, you will see some of the sets that I've made. I did whiskey glasses for coaches for a basketball league we have here.
Nice.
And it wasn't this design, but this is like one of the men's glasses. It's a whiskey glass. You can see there's a cigar on there.
That's cool.
Nice.
On the back, it'll either say like whiskey and cigars or cognac and cigars. For the basketball team glasses, which were cognac glasses also, it had the team logo on it.
Oh, nice.
So, and you'll see that on the IG page also. Gift boxes, I do designer inspired. I did some Chanel glasses, some Tiffany glasses, and some Fendi glasses they were sets for some Christmas gifts that people bought. And you can see those on IG also.
Hey, we're getting requests for whether you have a Facebook page, and if you don't have one, you might want to make one.
I do have one, and I kind of just created it, and it is also, let me make sure it's
Put it in
crafty.
the chat. Put it in the chat.
Okay, let me just make sure I just created. I was really using the IG strong, but I know a lot. Yeah, okay. So it is exactly the same. I'll get better at it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because then you can upload your pictures there too, so folks can see, you know,
There
I
are
see.
few,
Okay,
and that's Facebook right there.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
okay, good.
I'm adding that one too.
So yeah, have a look, and if you have a request or anything, or you need gifts,
Yeah.
I can do it all. I do shot glasses. This is it was a trial, so you'll notice that the word Tito's is backwards, but this is printed right on the shot glass. I could do like for a bridal party. I can print your picture on here. I can put your name on here.
Nice.
So, but this is one of the shot glass, but you could just see it was a trial and error because Tito's is backwards on there. But this is something that it prints right on the glass.
Hey,
I do clear shot glasses too, but it doesn't work the same as this.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for joining us and sharing. People really, wanted your information. So now everyone out there in Facebook land, you know how to reach Kim. She does excellent work and she's great to work with. So
Reach out if you need some Valentine's, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that.
Day is coming. That's a cute
Nice.
Yeah, that is cute for Valentine's Day.
Any occupation, I could do occupation glasses. I could do occupation tumblers with your occupation. Anybody a nurse? I put the scrubs on here, all that.
Love it.
I'm gonna share your information with my company because sometimes they're looking for cute gifts. So
Yeah.
Okay. If you look on IG, you'll see a lot of the nurses' glasses I did for Nurses Week.
So Kim, I see these boxes that you did, like the Chanel box.
Correct.
do you have one to show us?
Prosecco,
They are all sold. They're all sold out.
and then the Fendi with that's nice too. Those boxes are
Right.
nice. Oh,
So
look,
those are
look, I'm already
custom.
thinking, you could have a subscription box, child.
Right?
Yeah, people will buy these.
Create a subscription box. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I just found somebody today in Clubhouse, new social media, that knows how to do subscription boxes. So
And you could do one item a month, and people would be like, "Where are we getting this month?" If they be so excited.
I could do that.
They could pick what colors they want if they wanted. Like if I wanted everything pink or pink and green, or if you wanted to
Right. So yeah, those boxes, they sold out pretty quickly, and they are like handmade. They're unique, so every box was different, as you can see. The Fendi glasses are actually repurposed wine bottles.
Awesome.
Okay, so let me know. Have them.
Yes, I'm sure you will get lots of calls and business after this, Kim. Thank you so much.
I can do it. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Y'all ladies have a good evening.
You as well. Good luck. Right.
Good night.
Good night. So now everyone has the information. I'm happy about that.
oh my gosh, look, are you?
You get ready to go shopping, Regina?
Ooh, yes, Lord. Look,
so COVID, I will say
COVID for you.
So we were back and forth with how I wanted the pearl setup. I just texted, I said, I like that one, the one you showed. She was like, do you like this one? Do you like this one?
Okay, I'm getting ready to buy that for one of my girlfriends for Founders Day.
I know.
And Founders Day is right around the corner.
I know.
Days away.
Look, I know, Jeanette. I'm getting ready to put up the church thing. I know. J5. We know.
So Dr. Hunt, I will say that COVID has surely helped me with spend less.
Oh,
Really? Oh, that's good, Marcia.
That is good.
So let me say, I did, so this summer, I must say, I went on a mini shoe fetish because I love sandals and so shoes. But everything, but we were talking about a documentary earlier called is it The Social Dilemma?
Yeah.
And so, now when you put things in a cart, it just follows you everywhere. It follows you on every social media. You're like, you're talking to somebody or you're looking at something and it pops up, or you leave it in the cart and it'll come back and say, hey, the price is lower, or hey, there's only one left. But aside from that, I will say that, yes, I will say that I've spent less money in helping me to, pay down more on some of my bills. So that's definitely a goal that I can see movement on, So it's also nice when you get to, I think the other thing you learn is not to, again, as Regina said, let me not just put, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds. let me just chunk this out and make it small. So if I want to pay down the, like, what's the time frame I think I can pay down this debt or pay off this bill, and how long is it going to take? Because other things, as we know, life gets in the way. So a friend of mine says, not something might happen, something will happen. So there are going to be circumstances in our life. Sometimes we're going to be prepared for them, and oftentimes we're not. And it can be from something personal or something, or Dr. Hunt, as you mentioned, something physical, something that, sort of knocks you off your feet, or makes you just not as balanced or steady as you were the day before. And then, so, how do you deal with those things? As I always say, in the midst of the madness, how do you kind of keep going and, and stay whole and get back on the square?
Yes. Yes. Well, you had mentioned something also about sugar, and I was like, oh my gosh, let's talk. Well, that's another interesting thing. Our
Addictions.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you start to unpeel that onion, like, how do you know? How do you know to be addicted to what you're addicted to?
That's true.
That's a good question. How do you know to be addicted to what you're addicted to?
Yeah, how do you know?
Like, you're addicted, but how do you know to be addicted to that thing?
Right.
To how do you know to be addicted to that particular thing? Is that what you mean, Dr. Hunt?
Yes. Right. If you're addicted to whatever, like if I'm addicted to the candy, how do I know to be addicted to that?
To the candy.
Right. Why is that the addiction for me?
Were you able to figure that out?
Oh, I've been there a long time, ever since I was little. I mean, for those of us who might not be for those of us who might not be in our 50s, just saying, there was the penny candy stores.
Woo! Yes.
So at the corner, and so I was at the penny candy store. I have all the fillings in the teeth, and then and to show for and still selective in my penny candy even back in the day.
I've sent all my dentist children to Harvard. Look at what.
So even then, but no. So how do you know to be addicted to the thing that you're addicted to?
Yeah, because I just share a little bit of story. I know we're way over time, but I love spice drops, and my friends say ghetto spice drops. You don't like the gourmet spice drops, and I'm true. I'm very selective. I don't want the gourmet stuff, and I used to love peanuts, but anyway. So everybody in my family just about has diabetes. Love sugar. And I'm like, how do I know to be addicted to this? Because, okay, so it goes back to my childhood. It goes back to the fact that when my mom and my brother and I would watch TV, she would have spice drops and peanuts. Start digging a little bit deeper. Because, I'm like, so what is with this thing with the diabetes? And why is it that I have, like I said, I've sent all my dentist children to Harvard and Penn independently. So this year, when I have things happen to me, I always try to move away from them, from understanding it in a negative light. And my goal is to always try to understand, what does this really mean? The surprise that I got was, went to the hospital for the heart, blah, blah, blah. Nothing is absolutely wrong. Nothing's wrong with that. But I used to wonder, there's also some alcoholics in my family, okay, at my mom's level. I used to wonder why a couple of times I had a kidney stone or gallstone. I didn't know what caused it. So I used to notice that when I've gone a couple of times, maybe two or three times, the doctor would always ask me if I like to drink. And I would say, as in, hello, my name is Portia and I'm an alcoholic.
Wow.
So they would say, yeah, do you like to drink? I said, no, but I do like spice drops. Now, I don't know how I knew to connect those two. I said, but if I have a glass of wine or drink a month, I don't care. He said, well, based on your blood work, your profile with your kidneys enzymes and stuff means that you've either been bitten by a scorpion spider or you really get into the cups. Because your enzymes, one of the enzymes I think was pancreatic enzymes was the, what was it? There were two. I'll think of them in a second. And he said, the range for this particular enzyme, lipase, lipase and amylase, is about between 500 and 700 milligrams. So, okay, yours is 7,000.
Oh, like what does that mean?
Right. And when you said pancreas, I'm like, don't be messing around with me, man. The pancreatic cancer takes you out like that.
Right.
Stress is a factor in it. I said, you're the second doctor that's asked me that. I don't get it. Well, they did an MRI because my pancreas was swollen a little bit. I said, okay. I went the first week, waited 2 weeks, went back. He said, do you know you have pancreatic divism? I'm like, what is that?
What's that? Right, there you go. What's
He said,
that?
you like sugar, right? Yeah. He said, well, the dorsal and the ventricle cords that come from your heart into your pancreas, by the time they get to your pancreas, they merge and become one. And then that's what dumps the enzymes into your small intestines. I'm like, okay. Yours never merged. He said, it's like a congenital condition. Okay. So each cord is dumping individually into your small intestines. That's why the enzyme levels are off the chart. They never merge to dilute each other. That's why you like sugar.
Wow.
Oh, and it's congenital and you can't do anything about it. I said, all of my mother's siblings were alcoholics, except my mother, but she loved sugar. So I used to beat myself up. My resolution is I'm not going to eat so much sugar this year. I'm going to cut down on my sugar intake, right? I would hang out there for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I would make up for it when I started back again. It's like I had a Geiger counter going on in my brain that said, you missed 5 days of your spice drops.
I got to catch up.
Girl, don't worry. We're going to catch your butt up. We're going to catch you up. Don't worry, because when you decide to go back into that pot, you're going to eat every damn spice drop in it. So anyway.
And I think again, that's back to, okay, it's like, I'm not going to cut it out, but I don't need to, but if I don't cut it out, then I don't have to get back to the point where, all right, instead of getting a sliver, I need to get the, the whole quarter pound of the cake.
Right.
But, at least if I don't cut it out, then I'm not denying myself, and I'm also not setting myself up for failing.
That's absolutely
So it's one thing, I don't have to buy the $4.99 pack of Twizzlers, Mars. Can you just go ahead and buy the $1.79 one right at the front counter?
Yes. There you go.
And not the big bag down the aisle.
Right. There you go.
But it's also interesting that there was a reason, right? Like the root cause of, because you're thinking you just love sugar, but I found it interesting that the doctor was able to tell you why you were addicted, so to speak, to that thing.
Right.
So perhaps there is something to be said for, internally for folks that are craving sugar all the time, right?
Absolutely.
Let's go check my.
And Jeanette, what was a miracle about it is I just found this out last year.
Wow.
All that money to Harvard for his kids. Yeah, I just
To the dentist.
and so it's like, oh my. And I would have never known to peel that back to try to figure out what it was. because I didn't know that I didn't know.
Right.
And it's generational. I mean, it's
Yeah.
wow.
We could talk about that in slavery later, but it's a whole piece with that, with what you
Yeah.
kind of crave. Anyway, ladies, I have thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Same.
much.
Thank you
That's
so
all right.
much.
So glad to have you as a guest, Dr. Hunt. This was very, and so wait, I want to say too, before we get off, that I mean, I know your client list is through the roof, but you have your own practice.
Yeah.
And so you are, here in Philadelphia, but now this pandemic has shown us that teletherapy is just as powerful, or can be as powerful as face-to-face. So I know you didn't come on as our featured business, but you do have your own practice.
Yes,
And
please.
I'm sure people will want to have a minute with you.
We've had some people on Facebook that have totally connected with you and been commenting. So it would be great if they want to
Oh,
reach
that's
out to you.
sweet.
Right. So I mean, if you can put your information, I have your number. So
Yeah.
we can post, if you don't mind, I would like to share. Is that number the right number to share?
Is it my cell or is it 5777? Yeah,
No,
because
it's
the
not that.
businesses,
So I'll get it from you later, then the one we want to post
Okay.
to share.
the businesses that I really have are the National Center for Family Recovery,
That's
which
awesome.
deals with trauma in Black families and really looking at that, and something called Eclipse Consulting Group. So I do a lot of work in the area of diversity. And I've been really one of the areas that I specialize in is African American culture. So I get groups to begin to have different kinds of conversations about race, ethnicity, cross-racial relationships, and the intersectionality between all of that.
Oh,
You guys are doing an incredible service, by the way, with sharing this with other women. And I want you to know that.
So you work with organizations? I mean, if we have a company, every organization at this point is dealing with diversity.
Yes, Lord.
That sort of thing. So you're open to those types of opportunities as well?
Yeah.
We share your information with our.
I started this business in '86, believe it or not.
Mhm.
And I've been doing work with companies that have been calling because of all the tragedy that's been going on in our world. And so I just did a town talk that was worldwide to people that were in, it was for a pharma company, people that were in Europe, America, North America, South America, and Southeast Asia.
Mhm.
To begin to talk. You'd be surprised how many people are watching us worldwide,
oh yeah.
especially people of color, and all the trauma that we've endured. And so that's where my passion is. Yeah.
Mm.
I do. Yeah, I've done a lot of work in that area.
I'll be sharing that information with my own organization. They've had, there's been a high focus on diversity now after George Floyd. I'd say since George Floyd on, they've been definitely focusing on it more. So I'm going to be sharing your information. I think everyone should hear from you.
Oh, thank you. Well, companies do window dressing with this all the time. It
Yes.
cycles about every 10 or 15
Yeah.
years. It happens, but
Right. So we have to strike while the iron's hot and keep it.
yeah.
I say we get in where we can fit in at this point and just
Yeah, they don't go
what
into the.
we can do.
Dr. Hunt, can you repeat your number, and Carl put it in the Facebook so we can
I will
have
put
that?
I'll put the business. Yeah, here we go. 200.
Yeah, if you put it all in the chat, I can take
Yep.
it from the chat.
Yes.
I got National Center, but I didn't get the full name of the National Center. And then I got the Eclipse
Consultant group. Yeah. I'll send you that. I can give you that stuff. I started some of this stuff. I did some work with the Katrina evacuees. That's how I got the National Center for Family Recovery coming up. So that was years ago. Yeah. But anyway, Benita, I love your head.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
It's freedom. Freedom.
Yes, I got it.
Freedom.
Hey, Ashe Squeeze. Ashe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Hunt.
Bye now.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr.
Bye.
Hunt.
Thank you. We're still on live, but I just want to say that this to me was an awesome way to start off the new year. I think that, I've taken quite a few notes, but definitely one of the themes I heard was we have to unpack why we have the fear to move forward with our goals. And also, I thought it was really interesting how she talked about the whole addiction to sugar. I mean,
So did I.
Right.
I have a family of generations of loving sugar. So,
Right.
that's just interesting in itself to figure that whole piece out. But
That was deep.
yeah,
Right. And understanding why it is what it is,
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I will take us off Facebook Live. Thanks everyone for tuning in this evening. Anyone have any parting words? Oh, and we have to thank our special guest business as well. I thought she was fabulous.
Delightful.
Kimberly.
Yes.
Yeah, she was excellent.
Yeah.
Delightful. Yes.
I loved everything about this evening.
So
And
did
I
I.
apologize for joining late, Facebook, but I got here. I had to do some sisters work.
Yes, you were
Some
off
good work.
work. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Your
everyone
sister
have a great
calls, when your sister calls and needs you, you're there for her.
Yes,
That's
that's
what
true.
it's about. And that's what this is all about. Connecting with, one another. So,
Agreed.
And we invite others to join in the discussion whenever they see a topic. I read the comments on Facebook, so you can share comments on Facebook if you have questions or whatever. And if you see a topic that you're very passionate about, feel free to join us as well. We would love to have you. So have a great
Yes.
evening.
Definitely.
Have a good night,
Have a good night,
everyone.
y'all.
We always end it by saying we hope that we've been able to bless someone, but we know that at least I know that I'm being blessed by these discussions.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone have a great evening.
Good night.
Good night.
right.